Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Em, and this is September's Ketchup and Pickles vlog. If this is your first time catching one of these videos on my channel, Ketchup and Pickles is an elementary school education teaching technique where basically you have your ketchup column, which is all the things you have to catch up on, and your pickles column, which is all the fun activities that you can pick to do once you have finished your ketchup column. I have so many ketchup items for this month. I did a horrendous job of reading my TBR for August, and so it's time to make up for it. I also didn't listen to, I think, a single Lady Sherlock in August, maybe at the very beginning, but I have gone weeks without Lady Sherlock, and I have suspended my hold on the audiobook for the latest book so many times. I can't do it anymore. So I checked it out yesterday, which means I have to make it through the last few books of my reread so that I can read that. I also have not touched I Am a Teenage Slasher. I haven't read Bloodmarked, which honestly might just be, that might just be a wash because that's like a 15-hour audiobook and I just don't know that I have time for that in this next week. So it's low priority. I want to read all the things. I want to read all the things. I also have a couple of arcs on my Kobo that I really want to read if I get the more pressing things done first. So welcome to this video. We have a lot to get done this week. I hope you have fun following along as I try to read all the things I possibly can. And we are going to start this vlog off with I Am a Teenage Slasher. So I Was a Teenage Slasher is Stephen Graham Jones' most latest release. It is also, my copy is from Aardvark Book Club, and my deal with myself when I signed up for Aardvark is that I would not let these books gather unread month to month to month, and this was in July's box, so I have to read it. I have to read it. And this is set in Texas in 1989, and we are following two friends, Tolly and Amber, and there is a slasher. I love Stephen Graham Jones's slasher books. I love My Heart is a Chainsaw. That whole trilogy is just my favorite. I've read a few other things by him that I have not loved as much as I loved My Heart is a Chainsaw. The Angel of Indian Lake I thought was okay, and The Night of the Mannequin I also thought was okay. So I'm hoping, because I'm going back to a slasher, that this will be a 5-star and I will absolutely love it. So fingers crossed for me. So this is coming from my ketchup column, and then alongside it I am also going to read a book for my pickles column. And good gravy. And for my pickles column, I'm going to start Goblins and Greatcoats by Travis Baldree. I have this on my Kobo. This is a short story that is available for free from Subterranean Press. So I will try to remember to link to where that is in the show notes. That's not what they're called. What is it? The description box. I will link it there. And I have no expectations, but the cover's adorable, and I think it'll be cute, and I think it'll be fun, which is really all I'm going for. So welcome to this video. Let's get started reading. Hello all, happy Friday. I'm leaving the house shortly to take the kids to the dentist, but I wanted to give you a real quick reading update before I have to leave. So I finished Goblins and Greatcoats by Travis Baldree. This is the short story. It's only 17 pages, so very short. And it was fine. I think I'll give it a 3. The Storygraph app is down right now, so when that comes back up, I'll give it a 3. It take place at this inn on this rainy night, and this goblin named Zell or Zill arrives, and somebody's been murdered, and it's basically like a, I don't know, it kept reminding me of Inspector Poirot, where all the potential suspects are there and they all kind of go through their sequence of events, and then Zill is able to deduce who the murderer is. So there is a twist at the end, which I thought was fun, and that saved it a little bit because I was like, okay, it was fine. 17 pages, I think, is just, this is why I don't read short stories very often. I just think it's too short to really get into anything. And then I started my reread of Miss Moriarty, I Presume, at the gym this morning, and I got 90 pages in, which is not too bad. And this is book, is this 5? Yeah, this is book 5 in the Lady Sherlock series. And this one brings Charlotte face to face with Moriarty himself. So this one's a really stressful one. And the ending is a doozy. I'll just say that. This is going really well. I'm having a great time. And I didn't mention this earlier, but I have been slowly reading Immortal Longings. I don't have the cover, by Chloe Gong, for a couple of weeks now, and not really focused on it. But the library, I have the audio from the library, and it's due back in a little over a week. So I do need to actually start making progress on this. So I did listen to another 2 chapters. And this is Chloe Gong's adult fantasy debut, and it takes place in this kind of futuristic city where people are able to jump into other people's bodies, like their consciousness can jump into other people's bodies. But of course there's rules, and then there's a competition situation in this, and it's okay. I'm not loving it the way I loved her Romeo and Juliet duology. I want to keep going though. I'm hoping I'll get sucked in, but I am kind of bummed that I'm not loving it the way I loved her other 2 books that I've read. And then, as you saw, I also started I Was a Teenage Slasher earlier today, and I got 20 pages into it, so not very far at all. We're still kind of getting everything established, but it's very what I think of it as classic Stephen Graham Jones writing style, and I'm hoping I really like this. So that's what I've been up to today. Like I said, we're gonna go take the kids to the dentist, and then we're gonna go to, my dishwasher got aggressively loud there for a second. We're gonna go to the state fair because we'll be in the same city as the state fair, and then we're gonna come home. Kids don't have school tomorrow, which will be nice. Just have a chill morning, and hopefully I will get a lot of reading done tomorrow. Hello all, it's the next day, like 7 o'clock, almost 8 o'clock the next day. And I just got home from an author event. I went to go see Anita Kelly speak about their romance novels, and that was really nice. I haven't read an Anita Kelly yet, but they're on my TBR. Anyways, I have a little bit of a library haul to show you. We can talk a little bit about my progress, though I haven't made a ton. And then I'm actually going to spend the rest of the night reading because the rest of the family is at a soccer game and they won't be home until late. But of course, as per usual, when I have the house to myself at a time that I usually don't have it to myself, I have a hard time focusing. So I've turned on sprints that Becca did a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to use those to help me focus and make some progress on these 2. I did run to the library and picked up a couple things that had come in. My oldest is wanting to discover some more manga series, so we got Yona of the Dawn, which I've heard good things about, for her to try, but I'm gonna read it as well because I'm interested to check it out and see how I like it. And then if you saw episode 5 of Wheel of Doom, which if you did, thank you so much for watching. If you didn't, don't worry about it. I read, what is it called? The Liar's Crown in that one, and I loved it so much. I had such a good time. And so I placed a hold on The Stolen Throne, which is book 2, and this is a lot chunkier than I thought it was going to be. Who knows? I might start this one this week, depending on where I get with everything else, because I'm really excited to keep going, and I want to keep going before I lose momentum. On to current reads. I'm almost halfway through Miss Moriarty, I presume. Loving it, of course, always. And I mean, yeah, no notes. I did look at Storygraph, and I did rate this one on there the last time I read it, which is probably when it first came out. So I think I'm finally like getting to where I can see what my previous rating was for these. I did give this 5 stars. I know why I gave this 5 stars. So I'm hoping I'll probably focus on this one tonight, because I'm hoping I can finish it up tomorrow, just because the audiobook is so quick. Well, I listened to the audiobook so quick. And then I'm, gosh, 30-something%, I think. Maybe. Yeah, 30-something% of the way through I Was a Teenage Slasher, and it's okay. I'm not loving it, but I'm not disliking it either. I really like Stephen Graham Jones's style of writing, like the stream of consciousness, somewhat fragmented style. Like, it's really easy for my brain to take in. I mean, I'm only on page 116. I'm feeling like this book is not what I was sold it as being. More so from the publisher, not from like any individual review. So there's that. It's fine. I was actually talking to my husband about this earlier today, and I was saying that I wonder if the reason why I love My Heart is a Chainsaw so much and love those 3 books so much is because Jade is such a great main character, and that the reason I love those books is Jade more than anything else. And if I don't love Stephen Graham Jones's main character, then I don't know that I'm gonna love the book. We'll see, because so far everything else of his that I've read, which is only two other titles that's outside the Indian Lake trilogy, have just kind of been fine for me. So, you know, we'll see how this goes. Like I said, stuff has barely started happening, but for now, I'm gonna do these sprints. I'm gonna listen to more of this and enjoy the quiet, except for the AC unit, which, you know, I don't know what to tell you. It is 90 degrees today. We're having another little bit of a heat wave, I think, before summer is over. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy first day of September. It's wild. I can't believe it's September already. I'm testing out a ring light, so we'll see how this goes. See how I like this when I'm editing it back. But it's pretty early, and I didn't want to turn on all the bright lights, and I didn't want to wake up my family. But this ring light is now pretty bright, so I don't know. I might have regrets. Anyways, I did finish Miss Moriarty, I presume, last night. So finished it in time to include it in the August wrap-up, which is great. I really love this one. It's still 5 stars. I love the mystery in this. I love how adventure-y this one feels, which the other ones are definitely mysteries. I wouldn't say they feel like adventures, but this one almost feels thrillery towards the end, because it gets so fast-paced, which these books are not normally fast-paced, and there's so much going on, and there's so much action. And the ending, I didn't have the same reaction this time, obviously, because I knew all the reveals, but there's something that happens towards the end that the first time I read it was such a gut punch, because I was just like, oh, how could Sherry Thomas do that to us? And so it's just, it's such a fun book to read the first time through. So in this one, they, like I said, they come toe to toe with Moriarty in this one, and he hires Charlotte and Mrs. Watson to go to like this hermitage, or it's this community in the countryside that does occult practices, basically, because Moriarty's daughter lives there. And sorry, I need to stop fussing with my bangs, but I'm just trying to figure out what we're doing this morning. Anyways, Moriarty's adult daughter lives in this community, and
he is suspicious of things that are going on. So he hires Charlotte to go make sure everything's okay. But of course, because it's Moriarty, like what he says is not really what's on the surface. But I think the mystery in this one was really fun. Again, I love all the characters so much. Ash and Charlotte's relationship is so playful in this one in a really delightful way. It's just so fun to watch they've always been comfortable with each other, but I don't know, it's just fun to watch them both settle into their relationship and have a greater understanding of what the other one needs in a relationship. And Ash has some really lovely discoveries of how there are different ways to love someone. So anyways, I really like it. It's still 5 stars. And then I was going to try to focus on, I was a teenage slasher last night, but I have no self-control. And so I started Tempest at Sea, just book 7. I only got to chapter 3. But this one picks up, I think, a couple months after Miss Moriarty, I presume, ends. And in this one, it takes place on a ship. And this is the first The Gang Is All Back Together book since The Art of Theft, which is book 4. So this is everybody is in this one on the ship. And to date, it's the only mystery that takes place on a ship book that I like. And this is in contention for being my favorite book. Because I always say, oh, what's it called? Book 3. I can't remember what it's called. Cold Hollow? I don't know. Book 3, the one where Ash is framed for murder. I always say that is my favorite. But I really loved this one when I read it. So this is in the running to be my favorite book. We'll see if it knocks book 3 out of that coveted spot. I really loved this one when I first read it. I'm excited. I'm probably going to listen to it. I have to go for a run today for the Couch to 5K training program that I'm doing. And I listened to Miss Moriarty, I presume, the last time I went on a run, and it was the perfect book to listen to. So I'll probably listen to this when I go for my run this morning. And then I'm slowly but surely making progress through I Was a Teenage Slasher. I read a chapter last night, and I'm just not loving it. I don't know. I'm worried it's going to do what I didn't like about Night of the Mannequin. And I can't tell you what it is because that's a spoiler for Night of the Mannequin. But Night of the Mannequin did something because Night of the Mannequin also has a main character who becomes a slasher. And I really hated the justification for why he became a slasher. I thought it was really flimsy and not very interesting. And so I'm hoping he doesn't do that in this. We'll see how this goes. I think I might have to take Stephen Graham Jones off of my auto-buy author list because I just don't think every book he writes is going to be my favorite. And it may be that My Heart is a Chainsaw was a flash in the pan, and that's the exception. And otherwise, maybe I don't love his books the way I want to. Though to be fair, I do love his writing. Even though I'm not loving maybe the plot or the character development or the way this is going, I still love his writing. It's so easy for me to read. And I love the odd way he phrases things sometimes. So yeah, I'm hoping to make more progress in this today. I know I just said I was going to listen to the audiobook for Tempest at Sea while I run, but I might listen to this. Because sometimes I get distracted when I'm running. And so probably listening to an audiobook for a book I haven't read before is not a good idea. So never mind. But anyways, I'm going to stop yapping and go read before my kids start to wake up. But the plans for today, real quick, are going for a run. Obviously, I also need to do some sort of core exercise because I am now getting to that age where if I don't regularly do core exercises, my back starts to hurt. So that's cool. That's great. Love that for me. And I think I'm going to pull out the fall decorations today. I'm so excited. And just the fall. I put out the fall decorations in September, and then the Halloween decorations I save until October. So I think I'm going to pull out the fall decorations. And yeah, it's going to be so fun. Okay. I will, of course, show you the fall decorations.
All right, I finished it just in time to go make dinner, and this really turned around for me in the second half, thankfully. Like I said, I really love Stephen Graham Jones's writing. I know I've said that multiple times, but I think his writing, it's so unique, and it's either gonna really work for you or it's really not gonna work for you. And it just, the way it is so stream of consciousness, I don't know, it just clicks and it makes sense. And I ended up finishing this. I was listening to the audiobook quite a bit today, but I did read this last chapter physically, just because there's so much happening and I could read it faster than I could listen to it. And I'm really glad I made that choice. Like, it was the right way to finish this book. The friendship in here is everything. I loved Tolly and Amber's relationship and how they communicated with each other and the history that they had with each other. And I just, like, that is really what made the book for me, is their relationship. And also the slasher really picks up in the second half. And I think I'm just always ready when I start a slasher for it to just be like guts to the wall immediately and for the whole book. And that's not always how it goes. Some of them are a little bit slower. I would say this, like, you get some slasher in the first 100 pages, but it's not really until the second half that it is constant, I guess. Anyways, so I'm gonna give it, what am I giving it? It's definitely in the 4-star range. I think it's probably a 4.25 at the end of the day, though I could probably talk myself up to a 4.5. This was the August pick for the Literally Dead book club, so I am gonna go back and watch the live show, which was, I think, a few days ago as I'm filming this. So I am gonna go back and watch that and see what all the hosts thought. I know Kayla said she gave it 5 stars, but I think Gabby was also on the live show, and I think she gave it a much lower rating. So I'm gonna be interested to hear the conversation with that. Missed you. I'm almost done, and then I'm gonna go make dinner. I just finished it.
That was fun. Wow.
So, anyways, it's a good time. Stephen Graham Jones is probably still on my auto by author list. Yeah, I think that's all my thoughts for now. Sorry, my kids interrupted me, and so now train of thought is gone. But yeah, I'm gonna go watch that live show, make dinner, probably listen to more of Lady Sherlock. And I think tomorrow, are we going to start a new book? Maybe. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Hello, friends. It's the end of the day, and I owe you an update. First of all, I read Lunar Boy mostly last night, and then I finished it this morning. This is by Jess and Sin Waboyo, and this is a sci-fi middle grade graphic novel that is, oh my gosh, I'll just tell you, I cried twice. I'm giving it 5 stars. But it's about this child who is found by... Okay, wait, I need to rewind. This is set in the future where Earth has been like wiped out by climate crisis. The majority of the planet is covered in water, and it has now become New Earth. So people have been able to go back to it and rebuild and reform a society. And there are also people who live in space stations throughout the universe. And at the beginning of this book, one of these space stations finds this child on the moon and takes the child in. But as the person from the space station is rescuing the child, the moon is telling the child that you can go, but you are going to have a life of hardship, of sadness, of heartbreak if you leave the moon, because humans don't know how to take care of each other. And the child decides to go. And then we get little snippets, little vignettes of the child getting older on the space station with their mom. And then we get a scene where the child tells their mom that they're not binary. And then we skip ahead to when I believe they're 11 and their mom is marrying an earth dweller, and so they are moving to New Earth for the first time. And so it's really about fitting in and finding yourself and finding your community and standing up to bigotry and hate and intolerance. And it was beautiful, and I loved it so much. And I think if you have a queer child, like, you should 100% read this. You should put this into the hands of queer children. And it was just such a beautiful story. And I'm going to get emotional if I keep talking about it. So we're just going to end it there. Stunning book. Just absolutely stunning. I loved it so much. And then I very impulsively started Hocus Pocus, an Oral History by Shannon Carlin. And, well, it's called Witches Run Amok, but it's an oral history about the making of Hocus Pocus. And I love it. It's so fun. It's such a fast read. And it's one of those books where I sit down only intending to read one chapter or one section, and I read like 3. So I'm having a great time. I really love it. I'm definitely going to have to watch the movie when it's over. And then, honesty moment. I don't think I'm in the mood to read this right now. This is Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. It was from my TBR jar for August. I don't think I'm in the mood to read this. I don't think this is the right book for right now. So I'm going to set it aside, and hopefully I'll come back to it later. But it's just too slow paced, and I am not in, or too, I don't know, it's too something that I'm not in the mood for. Hello everyone, God, what day is it? Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Hi. I finished this book, A Tempest at Sea, maybe 10 minutes ago. I have been doing nothing interesting today, so there's no B-roll because all I did was go to work, and then I came home and I filmed a video, and I did copious amounts of laundry and changed the sheets on all the beds and had to take apart the vacuum cleaner to get out like a dust clump that was clogging it up. It was all very exciting and nothing worth seeing on camera. This is your update for today. So I finished Tempest at Sea. This, I think, might be the twistiest mystery in this series. And it's twisty, but it also makes sense, which I appreciate, because there's one other book in this series where the mystery is twisty, and I don't know that it makes sense, but I just kind of let it go because the mysteries aren't why I'm here. I think that while this is still a 5-star, it is not my favorite. I still like book 3 the best. Mostly, I think, because there's not as much Charlotte in this book as I would like there to be, or as there is in previous books, and for good reasons. There's stuff that happens in book 6 where Charlotte is very much having to lay low now and is on the ship, but not as herself. And the moment when you realize who she is disguised as on the ship is so good. It's so fun. And watching her masquerade as this character is also very fun, but it's just not enough Charlotte for me. I love how much of an ensemble this book is, and you really need all the characters, and you spend what feels like a pretty good equal amount of time with each of like the main side characters, and it's just so good. And I am so excited now because I won't be able to do it in this video because this vlog is going to end tomorrow, so my primary focus is going to be finishing up the Hocus Pocus oral history, but that does mean I will be able to start Ruse of Shadows, which is great because that audiobook is due back in 5 days. So yay. I'm so happy that I did it because I really thought that I wasn't going to get it done in time, and that audiobook was going to have to go back and I'd have to wait months for my hold to come up again. So that's very exciting. But now I need to go pick up my youngest, and then I have to go back to work. But I'm not lead teacher for this class, so I just have to show up and help wrangle. I didn't have to lesson plan. I don't have to be in charge. I just have to be support for the lead teacher. So that will be, I'm so excited to not be in charge for an hour. It'll be great. Anyways, I'm gonna go pick up my youngest, and I will come back and talk to you, I guess, when I finish Witches Run Amok, which will probably be tomorrow. So I'll talk to you then. Hello friends, happy Thursday and welcome to the last clip of this vlog. I just finished Witches Run Amok and I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I think if you love Hocus Pocus, this is so shiny. I think if you love Hocus Pocus, this is definitely worth your time and attention. I had so much fun reading this because it's an oral history. It's all segments from interviews, so it reads really fast. There isn't an audiobook for this, which makes sense because that would be so hard to do, but I think Shannon Carlin obviously put a lot of time and attention into this. It is incredible how many of the cast and crew she was able to interview for this and how many different people's perspective. I was also talking to my husband last night about how incredible it is that nobody had any negative things to say about the filming of the movie. There is no tea, like no drama, no like everybody genuinely enjoyed each other's company. And while there were obviously like some bumps in the road and difficulties in filming, it was none of it is personality based. Like everybody got along really well. And it sounds like it was a really positive experience. So that is pretty incredible and I feel like really rare for film industry. And I am gonna give this 4 stars. I did think it got a little, I don't think it needed to be quite this long. Not that it's a long book by any means. I think it's not even 300 pages. The acknowledgements end on 281. So it's not a long book, but there were a couple chapters where it did drag a little bit. Can I remember which ones I felt dragged? So there was a chapter towards the end about whether or not Hocus Pocus is a cult classic or just a children's classic. I didn't really see why we needed that chapter. I felt like it kind of reiterated what had already been said. It felt a little repetitious, a little redundant. So I didn't think that chapter really needed to be there. And then there was a chapter about all the special effects. And that was definitely the longest chapter of the book. I think that chapter was 30 pages. And that one did start to drag after a while where it's kind of like, okay, I get it. But I'm also not super into like all the technical elements. So it was interesting. I just didn't feel like it needed to be quite that long. I felt like maybe it could have been half that length and I would have gotten the point across. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I'm very excited now to go watch the movie again. Now knowing all this information. It does touch on Hocus Pocus 2 and what the reception was for Hocus Pocus 2. Really, really glad I picked it up. But also really glad that I got it from my library and didn't purchase it at the bookstore. So with that, we are going to end the video and end this episode of Ketchup and Pickles. I feel good, I think, about what I accomplished this week. I don't know. It's kind of a blur though. I read a lot, which is good because I needed to get a lot done. Are there books I wish I had time to squeeze in? Always. Always. Every time I do one of these videos, I always feel like I didn't get done as much as I wanted to, but that is the, oldest sibling syndrome, I think. But yeah, all in all, this was a good reading week, and I am excited to start the next reading vlog that I have planned. So that should be out in about a week. But for now, let's do, what emoji do we want to do this time? Let's do a moon for Lunar Boy or some sort of planet emoji. I think that'll be a good one. And like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Bye!